Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Champions Podcast with myself, Heather, and my co-host Champ will be here shortly. And we are so excited to have a special guest with us today. His name is Jerry, and he certainly has a testimony. And so we're going to let him introduce himself and start telling his testimony about just being an overcomer. So, welcome to the podcast, Jerry.
Good morning. Thank you for having me, Heather.
So, obviously, I know a little bit of your story. So, you're organ recipient, but how has that started? Like what led to you needing a transplant?
Well, at 4 months of my age, I was diagnosed with cystic fibrosis, and until I got into my late 30s, early 40s, I was 40 years old when I received my transplants. But just CF had done its toll on my body, and I needed those transplants.
Yeah, and it's so amazing with CF how some people have to get them so early and then some can actually push it off till later in life. How was your CF journey? Like, were you really, really sick growing up, or did you kind of, because I know, like, obviously some people manage and they go to college and get jobs and they seem to be where they can at least hold down those things where others may be so much sicker. How was your journey with that?
Yes, ma'am. I was fairly healthy as a teenager, and growing up into my 20s is when I started to go downhill right after high school. Because in high school and things, I was fairly active. I ran cross country. I played tennis, played baseball, all kinds of sort of things like that. But through my childhood, I got the normal stuff: strep throat. Never really had pneumonia or anything. It was just as a baby, I was really, really sick when I was first diagnosed. And then I just grew up and just had the normal things. Like I said, chickenpox, excuse me, chickenpox and stuff like that. Nothing out of the ordinary where I had to be hospitalized for a long time until I got into about the age of 18 is when I had my first tune-up. And I finally had realized that there's more people like me out there. I had never really met anybody else with CF back then until I was in that hospital at the age of 18 and had a tune-up, which was kind of crazy and new to me for sure. I live in a small town here in Central Texas, and for that tune-up, I had to go to Houston. My pediatric doctor here in around Bryan, College Station, Texas, said we're going to have to send you down there and get you well, and you'll have to stay in the hospital for a couple weeks and have high dose IV antibiotics, and that's kind of what happened.
It's so
Uh,
amazing that you were able to play sports. I played a little bit of softball at one time, and I think sports to me is just such a thrill, especially I think when you have CF and you realize you can actually play a sport. And I may not play as many sports today, but I still love them.
oh, definitely, yes, ma'am.
And
Yeah.
so when did you kind of get to that point where they said, okay, you need a transplant? And what were your emotions going into that?
Oh, it's a good long story, but up until my when they first told me that I was needing a transplant, I was getting sick very often, needing to go to the hospital for IV antibiotics. Me and my wife at the time were trying to adopt a child, of all things. Uh, uh, it was my second wife. My first wife passed away from CF. Uh, but my doctor just flat out came out and told me, hey, you got about 6 to 4 months to live and you need to get evaluated for a transplant. So I started going through that, and it was a big miracle that the way things happened. Let me put it to you that way.
And I know you've shared your testimony because I saw that video. And
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
so obviously, faith has been a part of your story. And as we know, faith can just pull us through some of the darkest moments of our life. How, or more so of a better question, what has your faith meant to you with all of you've gone through? Were you always a believer, or do you feel like because of your journey, that your faith like strengthened and grew as things went along?
It has totally grown. It's even stronger now that even after my transplants. Before transplant, and as a kid growing up, I was just going to church with my mom on a weekly basis, sometimes twice, 3 times a week. But we after high school, in high school and into college, I really didn't attend church much. I was seeing another lady, and we didn't attend church, and nothing like that. And then I met during my first tune-up. I met my future wife, Kimberly, and we got together. And her parents were Christian as well, so we were going to church ever so often, not on a weekly basis or anything. But uh, I started questioning life and things like that. What was going on? I mean, she was sicker than I was. We were married for 5 years until she passed away. Um, After that, I just realized there's got to be something else, and I got back, found God again, and started going to church more often and things like that. I met my second wife in church, and she was there. And actually, I take that back. I'm sorry. I met her through family, and then we started going to a church that ended up being her relatives was the pastor. So I started going to that church, and my mom had gone to that church as a younger person. That was the first time she had went to that church. But anyway, I just grew stronger and stronger in that church, and I'm still in that church today. It's a good God fearing church, Bible taught, straight through the Bible, and like that. And I just really enjoy it. I mean, God done tremendous things for me.
Yeah, that's so amazing. And like I said, faith can just move mountains. And I think when we go through what
Definitely,
we have, we need something to cling to, because you can be as strong as you can be and determined, but faith just, and it's hard for somebody that doesn't have faith to explain it to them. But somebody that
yes, ma'am.
has faith, you just get it. You know that when you don't have anything to cling to, God's there. And what has
Definitely.
it meant for you, obviously, post transplant? What has it meant for you? Like, what kind of opportunities have changed, like quality of life compared to where you were before transplant?
Oh, just the coolness of the air in your lungs. I mean, that was the first thing I received when I woke up from transplant, and they told me they were going to take out oh, I can't even think right now, the line out of your mouth and everything,
Hmm.
the breathing
Breathing
tube.
tube. Yep.
And I got that first gasp of first fresh air in my lungs, and it was just the coolest thing I'd have ever perceived in my life. I mean, it just opened me up, and I was like, wow. And it's brought up so much things. I can breathe so much better. I mean, quality of life is so much greater because I'm breathing, and it's amazing. That's all I can really say, that God has given me that.
Yeah, I can, when you say it's so amazing, it's kind of hard to describe when you
It
try
is
describing it, because, people see us and they see us at one point, but it's so hard to describe exactly what you feel. I mean, I feel like it's such a humbling experience, but it's just
totally.
so amazing. Do you know who your donor was, or you never found out?
I did find out, and I met my donor's mother and his sister.
Oh, wow,
The
that's
odd
awesome.
thing was, yeah, 4 months after my transplant, I was like, I got to reach out. So I went ahead and I had wrote my letter, and I sent it in to, I gave it to my coordinator, and they sent it in. And I didn't hear nothing for a month or so. And then on Facebook, I get this message, and it said, "Hey, are you a lung recipient?" And I said, "Yeah." And come to find out, this was my donor's aunt had reached out to me. She had searched Facebook because I had put a post on Facebook. Well, in my letter, I had signed it J, Jerry, and then just my last initial. And from what I understand, sometimes you're not supposed to do that. But anyway, she searched Facebook for every Jerry R that had a transplant and found me and messaged me. And that's how I met the family.
That's
It was pretty
awesome.
cool.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
so tricky. Like, I don't totally agree with how we can't say certain things. I mean, because at the end of the day, we just want to know who our hero was.
Right.
And I hadn't written my kidney donor's family yet, but I did both sets of lungs, and I never heard back. I kind of sent them cards and stuff, and one time I even sent a photo, but yeah, I think, obviously we want to know, but at the same time, you have to have that understanding that they may not. But it drives me crazy sometimes. I'm like, why can't I just put my whole name, and let them do
Right.
the searching if they want to? But what was that feeling like when you met them? Like, what did they? Obviously, I don't want to, expose too much personal conversations, but just what was the emotions like with being able to finally talk to somebody that was your hero's family?
Oh man, it was emotions roaring out like crazy. I mean, there was emotions that I've never felt before. Just meeting somebody that I know can did what they did for me. I mean, it's like that verse in the Bible where it says, "You didn't lay down your life for your friends." I mean, this is what this person did for me. I mean, they did something that family didn't know he was going to do. He had signed his driver's license saying that he wanted to be a donor, and his family didn't know that. So they granted his what he wanted, and they allowed for his transplant to happen, for him donating his lungs and his kidney to me. So meeting the family, it was all hugs and tears, and it was crazy because I actually the way I met them is the hospital was having a donor remembrance thing, kind of like a symposium, as you say, or whatever. And I invited them to that, and they came, and I gave them flowers and stuff like that. Hugged them on his neck. She was Spanish, couldn't talk very much English, understood a little bit. The daughter translated for me, and I mean it was great.
Yeah, I can only imagine how that was for them too, just to be able to lay eyes on the person. Because I think some people that struggle with organ donation, it's hard for them to imagine their loved one's organs going to someone else. But at the same time, if they get that opportunity to see the
Yes,
recipient
ma'am.
and how it transforms their life and how humbled and grateful. I mean, I think I remember hearing, and I'm sure you have heard of Jerry Cahill. And I
Oh
remember
yeah,
when he first got his transplant, I heard him say that there was never a day that went by that he didn't think about his donor. And that was before he, received his kidney. And I kept thinking, well, I'm sure that's true, but that's kind of hard to imagine that every single day. And then when I got a transplant, I was like, oh, he's exactly right because there's not a day that goes by that, I mean, just waking up in the morning and taking that breath, being able to do something throughout the day where you're not having to constantly think about breathing or how your kidneys working for that day is so true. You think about them every single day. And of course, in my case, I have three, and I think about the first, second, and third. And I, of course, don't know them, but I think you can, obviously, you kind of know who your donor is, but before you met them, I'm sure you also had that thing of it was a stranger, but you felt so connected to that stranger. Like you didn't
for
know,
sure, totally.
before you met them, you didn't know their name or their face, but you felt like you truly knew them.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. And that's just like my pancreas donor. I haven't met them yet, and I'm still struggling trying to write the letter because on my pancreas, the hospital where I had it at wasn't the same hospital that I had my lungs and kidney at because they don't do the pancreas transplants at the hospital where I had my lungs and kidney. So that hospital kind of has more rules that are tighter than the hospital that I had before. They want you to wait a while before you actually write a letter to the donor. They suggest that, but I still haven't been able. It's been 6 years, and I haven't been able to write my donor for my pancreas yet. And I want to, but for some reason I'm holding back, and I don't know why. I guess it's because I've had a little trouble with my pancreas. I've had two bouts of rejection with my pancreas that the doctor says I had, but I don't know if it was actually rejection or just something going on with my body. And I'm still going to write it. I've just got to sit down and do it, and just pray that they accept it, and then I meet that family too. It's
Now,
crazy.
how is it? Because I know a bunch of like lung, liver, and kidney recipients. How is the pancreas recovery and surgery compared to the others? Would you find it to be like which one would you find to be more difficult?
Well, the pancreas was extremely difficult. It is totally. it's kind of the same things, but there's so much that they go by as far as blood work and such. One little blood work is off, and they kind of say, "Hey, we just need to look into rejection," and then they focus on that. Like right now, my lipase level is on the higher side, and they're cautioned by that, so they keep me doing lab work constantly. Right now, I'm doing labs every week to see how the range flows down, and they're going to go by that to determine if I need to have a pancreas biopsy. I recently just had a liver biopsy because my liver numbers are extremely high as well, and they're trying to figure out what's going on there. And that biopsy came back, from what I understand, as being okay, but they're still trying to figure out what's really causing the numbers. It could be medications because I'm a multi-organ recipient, so the medications that I'm on could be making those levels of the other organs look weird or out of place.
Yeah, and it's such a
So,
miracle to say like you're a multi-organ transplant.
yes, ma'am.
You know, when you think about everything that goes into transplant, I mean, just to say that you're a survivor of three, and you talk about like your liver numbers, do you still, because I know I have it, do you still find like the time you hear like, oh, a level's off, that you kind of get that apprehension of, oh my gosh, what next? You know, because I feel like with
Every
CF, we're
time.
always waiting for the other foot to drop.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you
Every
still
time.
do you still feel that? You feel like you can kind of at this point kind of just like, oh, well, whatever happens, you know, like if they said, Jerry, you need a liver transplant, would you go for that one too?
I totally would. I leave it all in God's hands. Like you say, that's where my comes from. When something goes out of whack or something, I just lean on Him. I'm like, God, you're in control. Tell me what you want me to do. Just let me try to focus on my health, what I'm eating, and see if any of that's making things go weird or whack. And I just leave it all up to Him. If I have to go through another transplant, that's what will happen. Uh, I just leave it up to Him.
Yeah, that's a good way to do, you know, just
Yeah.
knowing that he'll provide, and he obviously has a purpose for your story, and for you to
Yes,
even
ma'am.
share it and encourage other people. I mean, to somebody that may be looking at you and say, well, if he can do it, I can do it. And so that's
Totally.
another reason why I share mine, is to show what God does and that people can do hard things. Thinking about your transplants, I've never asked you, like, when exactly were your transplants, if you don't mind sharing the dates of how far out you are.
Okay. Yeah, I can do that. My lungs and kidney, and on December the 2nd, I'll be 9 years. And just this past October the 1st, it was 6 years for my pancreas.
That's
Yep.
awesome. Yeah.
Yep.
And, you know, I think once you just get past that, I mean, every year is obviously a victory, but I think
For
once you
sure.
get past that, as they say, that 5 year mark, it's like you kind of breathe, I guess, in a way a little easier because you're like, okay, well, I made the statistics, you know. And I think with
Yes, ma'am.
CF, we obviously are always trying to beat those statistics.
Oh, for sure.
What
Like
has
my
been,
age. Next year, I'll be 50, and I can't wait.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. And, you know, some people
Yeah.
will look at getting older as a negative, but for us, we just celebrate every single year. I'm sure you've heard of Andy Lipman, and he
Oh, yeah.
always would make those videos with his gray hair and talk about he was so excited to just have gray hair because it meant he was here. And so that was always inspirational to watch. What has been some of the, I guess, the most exciting things you've gotten to do after all of your transplant? Because I do, like, do you have any certain hobbies? Obviously, you like sports, but do you have any like hobbies that you're into now?
Not really. I just like to focus on volunteering. I do a lot of volunteer work, like with all three OPOs here in the state of Texas, the Texas Organ Sharing Alliance, Southwest Transplant Alliance, and Life. I've not recently been volunteering as much because right now I'm actually a board member on a nonprofit that a friend of mine who's had a double lung transplant, and she has CF. She started, and you've just recently talked to her, Jenny. I can't think of her
Yeah,
how to say her
Jenny. Yeah,
last name. Sorry, Jenny. Yeah, and I'm on a board with. She's the president, and I'm a board member with Pre to Post Transplant Foundation, and I do a lot of stuff. with them. And right now, I'm focusing on. Right now, I'm engaged and getting married Saturday, so
That's
that's a lot of stuff that's
awesome.
happening. Yeah.
Well, early
Um,
congratulations on that.
well, thank
That's
you very
really
much.
awesome.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff's going on this week, so I'm really busy, but I keep myself busy. I also volunteer with our my church has a homeschool. Well, we I was with them when back probably about 12 or so years ago. We got together and we decided we want to start a school. A couple in our church that are really blessed, and they were like, "Hey, we want to start this school." And I was like, "Yeah, I want to be a part of that." So we all went to some training in Tennessee, and they used the ACE program, and we got the school started. And then we ended up getting a new pastor in the church and his wife, and they wanted to change it around. So now it's considered homeschooling, and we still use the ACE curriculum and stuff like that. And it's real good. I volunteer there once a week, and we just go along with the kids, teaching them their school. We do from like uh, first grade up to 12th grade. So right now it's going great, and I enjoy being there with the kids and helping with them. So,
That's awesome. I think it's so important to just have things that keep you busy. I mean, obviously you go
oh
through
yeah,
transplant and I always tell people I didn't get a transplant to sit on the couch. And
definitely
sometimes we may still have limitations, but I think just being able to do things that we enjoy and that we have a passion for just fulfills us. I mean, our life may still look different from what people, and I hate the word normal because, but that obviously is a term that society uses. And to us, this is normal. And it just may look different than someone else. And so I find it so inspiring that you just have gone through what you have, but that you still have such a upbeat, positive attitude and optimism, and also just volunteering. And I always say if you're busy, you're alive, and that's something to be
right.
grateful for because we obviously know what it's like not to be busy. Is there any advice that you would give to someone that may be, being faced with they need a transplant and obviously going through three, you have the perspective of three different organs. What advice would you give to them on that?
Well, just the main thing is just believe in what's coming, and that it's going to happen, that the Lord's going to do it for you. You just got to have faith. And like you said, faith is a big issue to me. If you don't believe in something bigger than you got a problem, because uh, us ourselves are weak and we're vulnerable, and we're going to have issues, and we're going to understand certain things, and we're going to feel alone sometimes. And we just got to believe that God is there for us, and that He's going to do what He can to help us if we believe in Him and love others and just stay faithful to Him, that He's going to pull us through.
Amen to that. Do you mind sharing how long you waited? Because I think I waited about a month for my lungs each time, but obviously my kidney was a totally different story. I waited about 2.5 years. How was that for you waiting during that time? And because obviously waiting for a transplant is so incredibly difficult. What was the time frame for each of your organs, if you don't mind me asking?
Okay, much like you, around August of 2016 is when my CF specialist told me, hey, if you don't get a transplant, you're going to pass within 6 to 4 months. So I started the evaluations then. I was put on the list on, I believe it was October the 2nd. And then come November 2nd is when I received, well, November 30th, I got the call. And December the 2nd is when I had my transplant. So I took it back. It was November 2nd to December 2nd. So it was a month to the day I received my transplant for my lungs and kidney. And then for my pancreas, it was a little longer because I was put on the list. Well, I don't know exactly the date, but it was like 2 years later because I was overweight, if you say. I had gained too much weight from previous transplants. And they told me, hey, if you want this pancreas, you're going to have to lose some weight. So I had to lose a lot of weight. And I lost weight, and I was put on the active list. And it took about 2 months before I received my apple pancreas.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. I mean, obviously, waiting 2 years is the
So,
long haul. But and this is a curious question. So, I've
yeah.
obviously with a pancreas, do you still have to take the pancreatic enzymes?
No, ma'am, not any longer. I'm off of insulin. I'm off the pancreatic enzymes. And it's a whole lot more less medication to take, let me put it that way, than what I was taking. Because when I was taking the enzymes, it was almost like I was taking, I want to say almost 63 pills a day compared to now where I'm only taking about 30,
I imagine
30 a
that's
day.
so just like a total life altering thing because your whole life you've been every time you eat, taking the enzymes, and to now, just be able to sit down and eat and not have to go, oh, wait, did I take my enzymes? That's,
Right,
I'm sure it's been such a dramatic change, but in a good way. And like
for
I said,
sure.
this is awesome for me because I don't think I've ever really heard of anybody with CF getting a pancreas. Obviously, it's possible, but never heard of that. And I guess when you got your lungs and kidney, that was just like a miracle in itself that it came from the same donor. So you didn't
For sure.
have to wait, even longer. And I think some people don't realize that the kidney, they say about, you get a lung transplant, the medications and stuff cause the damage. But what people don't understand with CF is we've been on such harsh medications our whole lives that is what starts the kidney disease. And so by the time we get to transplant and you take those medications, it just, continues to decline it. I'm sure that life has just been such a miracle and blessing for you being able to receive all those and, being able to think about just what you've been through. Like, I'm just blown away just saying, like, obviously, I know 3-time lung recipients, or I know someone that received lung, kidney, and liver. And so I'm just like blown away myself of just hearing, like, I heard you give your testimony at church, and I just thought there probably wasn't a dry eye in that congregation that day because it's such a testament of what God can do. I mean, most people would think, oh, that's not possible. I can't do that. But just being able to see what God can do for someone is such a testament of faith. And I'm sure somebody that has heard your story, because I know myself, when somebody has heard my story, they say, well, I believe in miracles now because I've seen it. I'm sure with your story, people have seen you get 3 organs and they're like, oh my gosh, there is more to life. God is, there's a savior that is providing. And I mean, we always have to say, sometimes we pray for things and it doesn't work out the way we want to, but in this case, God had a purpose from you from day one to say, He is going to get it. He is one that is going to be a messenger for me. He's going to testify. And I remember even waiting for my transplant, and I said, God, if you can just give me this transplant, I promise I'm going to be so much on fire for you that I'm going to make sure every single day I am shouting from the rooftops what you do. And I thought, well, I never gave up. Was there ever a time during the waiting period that you kind of thought, this may not happen for me?
Oh, for sure. And it's even before then. See, my first wife, Kimberly, when she was having issues with her health and things, they told her that she needed a transplant as well. And she went through the evaluations and stuff, and they denied her. They told her that her attitude wasn't in it and that she couldn't receive the transplant. So that was a big hit to us. And it hurt bad because, I mean, we knew the outcome was what was going to happen. I mean, and it was sad. But we held together and we just kept going along with things. We prayed constantly. I mean, it's all we could possibly do. But definitely before my transplant, I didn't even know if I wanted a transplant. The first thing is, I was talking to God and I was like, Lord, what do you want me to do? Or do you want me to come home to you, or do you want me to keep pushing and fighting and not giving up? And that's basically what I did. And as God told me that He has a plan, and I just need to follow His word and not give up. Because that's the thing, is that we can't give up, and giving up is easy. That's the thing. And fight is hard, and you got to keep pushing forward every day. And if you don't, it's you're taking the easy route, and God doesn't want you to do that. He wants you to keep pushing forward every day and do what he wants and just share the love that you have for others and his love with others. And that's basically what he wanted me to do, is keep sharing love and doing what he does, how much he loves people and he loves you. And that's what he wants us to do, is to love others and follow after him.
And
And that's what I did.
it's so true that I always say this, that if we had it easy all the time and never had something that we really had to push through and overcome, that our faith wouldn't be what it is, because we would say, well, what's
Exactly.
the need, but
Exactly.
it's when people go through, and we always celebrate our faith even in the good moments, but it's in the darkest days of your life that that is when you stumble upon your own strength, but it's God that gives us that strength. And
Definitely.
I'm sure you kind of heard God's voice in your head too, to say like, you will make it just one day at a
Yep.
time. And
Yep.
now, when you look back at your story, or you can, because I know even when I look back at my story, I'm like, oh my gosh, did I really go through that? It almost seems like I made it up, but you
Yep.
really do go through it. Do you kind of have that similar thing when you look back and say, oh my gosh, did I really do all that?
Every day. Uh, every day I can't wake up without thanking God. Thank you for the day. Thank you that you've brought me through every single thing that I've been through. And it's just so amazing to understand the love that he has for me. And that's the thing. My pastor has a thing where he says, God is nuts about you. And he totally is, because I'm just a nobody and he's doing this for me. It's like he's giving me chance after chance after chance. And I just have to be so grateful for the things he's done for me every day. Every day I wake up, I'm just, Lord, thank you for another day. And thank you for that. I can go out and share the love that you have for me with others. And it's just, it's a feeling you can't get over. It's a really amazing beyond imagination.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like I say all the time, I'm blessed beyond measure, because when you think about it, how can you measure what he's done and all the
You
times that
can't.
he's pulled you through and what he's given
Definitely.
you? I mean, you all, like you say, it reminds me of that song, I'm just a nobody and just
There you
trying
go.
to tell everybody. And that's how I feel like what's so special about me, but it also, I know that there was a reason I'm a messenger. There's a reason I have a testimony, and maybe that purpose is to be able to bring people closer to God. I don't know, but
For
I'm
sure.
just so grateful for my opportunities, and I'm grateful for our friendship. I remember when you first friended me on Facebook, and it's been so awesome to be able to see your life and what he's been able to do for you, and seeing that transformation he's been able to do with giving you organ recipients. And is there anything, as we wrap up here today, is there anything else that you would like to add to your story that you would want people to know about you, and maybe where they can follow you on Facebook?
Okay. I'm at Facebook, of course, like you said, at Jerry Ray Jr. Uh, hopefully, I don't know. There's a lot of Jerry Ray Juniors, which is crazy. But yeah, the biggest thing is just always remember there's something bigger than you. Don't be selfish. Always look for the good in people. Don't. Uh, it's hard to describe sometimes uh, what you need to look for in life, and to me, it's looking for the good people have in them, and you know this there because God gives us all a measure of faith, and looking to Him is the greatest thing you can do, and uh, just helping people along when they're times that they're going through hard times is just something that is what I look forward to. Helping others is a big deal because I've been helped by God, and He's done so much amazing things for me.
Yeah, it definitely makes you realize when you get a transplant that there is good people in the world, and
Definitely.
just that I always say organs were meant to be shared. There's no other way to explain how science could have it where somebody else's organ could go into you and you have life. And so
Right.
it's so amazing. And I so appreciate you coming on here today and just sharing your testimony and your story. And I know that people that listen to this will be so encouraged by it, and will also love your attitude of just that optimism and that faith that you come from. And so I want to thank you for just coming on here and be willing to share that, because you do have such a powerful story. And I definitely am grateful for all three of your selfless donors that were able to gift you life, and that you could be here to still share that testimony and live. And I want to say again, congratulations on your upcoming marriage, and I wish you all the best with so much happiness with that. And I'll definitely look for the pictures on Facebook. And so thank you so much, Jerry. I really enjoyed this, and I'm sure Champ will. He wasn't able to be on here at this current moment, but he is going to definitely add in his thoughts about this, and I'm sure he will be blown away too. And so we just thank you so much.
I appreciate you having me, and I love doing this. I love sharing my testimony. I'm trying to get more acquainted with being able to speak in front of people, and that's the hardest thing for me because I've always had trouble doing that. I get so nervous when I get up in front of people, and I get tongue tied, and I just don't say what I want to say.
Well, you're doing
But
a good job, so
thank you,
I think you're
thank you,
doing great. And
thank you.
it's powerful to be able to share it. And so we
Yes,
hope
ma'am.
y'all enjoyed this episode, and you can check back next week every Friday for a new episode of the Champions Podcast. And we hope y'all have a very blessed week.
Having Jerry on the podcast today was such a blessing, and hearing his story of just determination and resolve and passion for his faith was such an encouragement to myself, to Heather, and to so many others. And one of the things that I think we sometimes lose sight of from time to time is just the resolve to keep moving forward, to keep moving forward. We all go through difficult seasons. We all go through difficult circumstances, but sometimes we just have to push. And sometimes it feels like it's too difficult or too much to push through, but we just have to keep pushing, have to keep moving forward, knowing that everything's going to work out and that the Lord has a purpose and a plan. And Jerry's such a powerful testament of that. We hope that you noticed and felt that through several of the stories and the conversations that we've had on the podcast over the last few months. Just the resolve and the determination to keep pushing forward no matter what. We enjoyed today's episode, and we sure hope that you did as well. And we hope that you'll join us next week for the next installment of the Champions Podcast. God bless.